At the New School, we believe creativity isn't a concept. It's a calling. It's what drives you out into the world to make the things that make a difference. At our schools, we teach creative problem solving by dissolving walls between academic disciplines so you can rigorously rethink everything. Together, we draw inspiration from human insight. We purposefully collaborate, try things over and over, and become invaluable to a world that doesn't exist yet. It's why our university is filled with journalists designing new media, playwrights creating tools for social good, designers collaborating with ethnographers and anthropologists, economists examining human interactions, musicians and media artists composing with light and space. Creativity, in the right hands, changes everything. Because it's not what you know, it's what you create with what you know. Make the future catch up to you. We do. The New School in New York City.
Imagine a university where walls between disciplines are dissolved, where scholars, artists, performers, and designers are actively supported to challenge convention and fearlessly create positive change in the world. Imagine an intellectual and creative haven that has never and never will settle for the status quo. There is no need to imagine because you are here. My name is Craig Tiede. I'm the Director for Admission Communications and Enrollment Services, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the New School and to today's undergraduate open house for Eugene Lang College and the College of Performing Arts. Our one-of-a-kind university is comprised of 5 renowned colleges and schools right here in New York City. 3 of them offer undergraduate programs for students who are just getting out of high school or for those looking to transfer. Those include Parsons School of Design, Eugene Lang College of Liberal Arts, and the College of Performing Arts. Here, a progressive, rigorous liberal arts college and a dynamic, collaborative performing arts college come together with legendary graduate programs and a world-renowned design school, Parsons, to prepare leaders for a world yet to be. And today you're going to hear from many members of our university community about how the New School is helping them to take a new path, including our deans, Stephanie Browner and Richard Kessler, our directors of admission, Candice MacLusky and Amanda Hosking, current New School students, and of course me. Most importantly, we've opened our doors for you today so you can experience the New School for yourself. Now, as Julie Andrews once sang, let's start at the very beginning, because that's a very good place to start. And our beginning was a particularly good one. The New School was founded in 1919 by academic visionaries who were frustrated by the intellectual timidity of higher education at that time. So they came together to create a new kind of school where faculty and students would be free to openly address the problems facing societies in the 20th century. Among the set of problems they were hoping to address were a growing number of students who couldn't educate themselves further in their countries of origin because of a continued fear of governmental censorship or persecution. In response, the New School became known as the University in Exile, bringing students from all over the world to our classrooms. And our legacy of global connectedness somehow feels equally as relevant nearly a century later. The New School has always been on the cutting edge of higher education offerings. We offer this country's first, and for quite some time, only adult bachelor's education programs. We offer the first ever college courses in African American history and culture, and we continue right up to this day to live our reputation as an innovative and experimental leader in higher education. Our mission then and now has been to bring creative scholars together to address the issues of the day through active questioning, debate, and discussion. And no matter what area of study students pursue, they're going to be challenged to understand the human needs that should inform their work. We ask our students to relentlessly question convention, take risks, and collaborate to be thoughtful contributors to the type of future they want to live in. And today, more than 10,000 students from all across this country and the world choose the New School, enrolling in our more than 130 degree and diploma programs. And the New School remains the #1 most international university in the United States, with more than a third of our students still coming to us from countries all over the world. As a result, you're likely to benefit by sharing your classroom and your ensembles, rehearsals, design projects, and discussions with students who come to that work from an array of academic, experiential, and philosophical backgrounds, unlike what you would find at most other schools. Our global community of students, faculty, and scholars are actively engaged in project-based learning taught by a faculty of working professionals who bring to the classroom their experiences in the very industries you as students no doubt want to one day shape yourselves. And whether here in Greenwich Village or abroad in Paris, students are immersed in the culture of now, unlocking their creative potential with the new school's unique approach to our education. And to a very true legacy of innovation, gaining the courage to impact real-world issues. Whichever of our schools you'll call home, the entire university will be available to you, allowing for unique combinations of interests and collaboration with industry partners and communities. So let's dive in and explore the schools and programs where you might find your new path. Eugene Lang College of Liberal Arts offers an experience designed for fiercely independent scholars looking for seminar-style liberal arts experience within our Cultural Center of New York. Recognized for its commitment to scholarly rigor and intellectual freedom, Lang is home to some of our university's most consistent questioners and social activists. Lang's academic approach is grounded in the development of critical thinking, characterized by the unique combination of hard work and personal autonomy, and built on foundations of reading, writing, debate, and discussion. Lang offers the following majors, though students certainly have the option through its liberal arts curriculum to shape a self-designed academic journey all your own. At Lang, your coursework is going to be seminar-based rather than in large lectures. And Lang's open curriculum gives you the freedom to explore what's most relevant to your own academic needs and personal interests. We really encourage you as students to ask the big questions, break through boundaries, and challenge traditional assumptions. Lang has been ranked #1 for small classes and described as the best college in the country for encouraging debate and discussion. We maintain a university-wide student-to-faculty ratio of 10:1, and the average class size at Lang is 16, not 100. In addition to Lang's small, intimate learning environment, you'll benefit from your immersion in New York City. You're going to become part of a university and metropolitan community that is very committed to social justice. In mapping out your own liberal arts curriculum, you'll immerse yourself in primary texts rather than textbooks, considering, for example, how the philosophies of Aristotle are relevant to immigration policy today. At Lang, the wide range of disciplines and interests results in a catalog of courses unlike what you're likely to find at other schools. We actively encourage you to pursue connections between the humanities, fine arts, social, and natural sciences with an eye for how you can contribute them to a better, more just world. The College of Performing Arts is comprised of 3 schools that offer a unique collaborative environment for multidisciplinary opportunities and experimentation: the School of Drama, the School of Jazz, and Mannes School of Music. We offer a new kind of conservatory, built to transcend the boundaries of what's typically a traditional siloed education. We want our artists to be citizens of the world, enmeshed in the pursuit of artistry that will transform themselves and the global community. Our curriculum encourages students to use their artistry to alter the way music and drama can positively impact the world. At the College of Performing Arts' 3 schools, you can pursue BFA or BM degrees in the following areas. Mannes School of Music was founded in 1916 by then musical royalty, David and Clara Mannes. It quickly established itself as an iconic music conservatory known for unparalleled rigor and depth while providing the most innovative curriculum of any similar school. One of the smallest, most intimate music conservatories in the United States, Mannes is selective, limiting degree enrollment to approximately 500 total students, with about 330 of those comprising its undergraduate programs. Over the years, the Mannes community has produced artists like Burt Bacharach, Frederica von Stade, Nadine Sierra, Bill Evans, Joanne Falletta, Richard Good, who is also on the faculty, and countless others. The Mannes faculty includes many of the most important artists and educators in the world, including Grammy, Pulitzer Prize, and MacArthur Foundation Genius Grant winners, and they work actively to foster close constructive relationships with students, and are committed to advancing the creative role of music throughout all aspects of our rapidly changing society. Mannes provides a remarkable array of performance opportunities, including partnerships with the Metropolitan Museum of Arts, the Martha Graham Dance Company, the Museum of Modern Art, the Orchestra of St. Luke's, On-Site Opera, the Stone, Frick Collection, Morgan Library, and New York City Public Schools. In this photo, students are playing alongside faculty at Carnegie Hall for the Mannes Centennial Celebration concert that was held in May of 2017. In its new home downtown, with its reputation for rigorous training, a nurturing environment, and expansive curricular options between the College of Performing Arts and the larger university, Mannes seeks to develop artists, not just players, in traditional and new emergent forms of practice. The School of Drama offers a 4-year Bachelor of Fine Arts program in the dramatic arts. This studio-based curriculum offers a 21st century training for actors, writers, directors, and creative technologists, with a focus on collaboration and multi-dimensional performing arts experiences. Conservatory-like in its commitment to excellence in development of performing arts skills, but unconservatory-like in the wide range of knowledge and capacities built into the curriculum and overall experience, the School of Drama is truly like no other. Through acting studio classes, performance opportunities, and coursework in aesthetic inquiry, the history of theater, and research, students cultivate conceptual and critical skills so that they can launch careers in theater or in any field that requires collaboration, critical thinking, and communication. Students get to explore acting, directing, playwriting, creative technologies, liberal arts, and applied research guided by an extraordinary faculty drawn from the most successful and well-known members of New York City's theater, film, and motion picture communities. With a core practice of project-based learning, the School of Drama is agile, cross-divisional, and technologically savvy. We provide a fundamental and progressive theater arts education while also offering students credible and important skills applicable to a range of career and learning opportunities that extend beyond the arts. And like the College of Performing Arts' other two schools, the School of Jazz was founded on the principle that working artists should play a central role in jazz and contemporary music education. The heart of the curriculum is its mentor-student approach, and right from the beginning, it produced leading artists like Brad Meldau and Peter Bernstein. Our faculty is comprised of legendary musicians who mentor students to develop the confidence and knowledge to experiment, take risks, and find their own authentic styles of self-expression. They include Jane Ira Bloom, pictured here, John Zorn, legendary hip-hop producer Hank Shockley, and 2 NEA jazz masters, Jimmy Owens and Joanne Brackeen, just to name a few. Ours was the very first jazz school based on small ensembles rather than big band, and it offers one of the largest vocal jazz programs in the world. Jazz at the new school has truly led the way in music education and provides an open box approach to repertoire and style, providing unparalleled access to unique musical opportunities throughout New York City and the world. Jazz courses take place within the same building as the other programs within the College of Performing Arts, and of course this shared space encourages collaboration, creating a one-of-a-kind space for artistic expression. The schools within the College of Performing Arts are rooted in a range of traditions, ensuring work across disciplines continues to expand knowledge and skills in new and exciting ways. Creative technologies and technological fluencies are infused within the curriculum of each school, from music programming such as Super Collider to Ableton Live, Max MSP, Final Cut Pro, and so many more. Few comparable programs offer the wide range of courses we do. Our students are expected to collaborate with other programs within the College of Performing Arts and encouraged to partner with students all across the university to bring dynamism to educational experience as well as to performance practice. And as a crucial tenet of the College of Performing Arts education is, of course, entrepreneurship. All students have this as a core piece of their curriculum and have the opportunity to take electives such as entrepreneurship in creation and production. Our commitment to entrepreneurship is so strong, we recently launched a new master's program in arts management and entrepreneurship, including a dual degree option for BM, BFA, and MA in 5 years. As a Langer Performing Arts students, you should also know that you will have access to our other undergraduate school, Parsons School of Design. First opened in 1896 as the Chase School by progressive artists seceding from the Art Students League of New York under the eventual leadership of Frank Parsons, the school created groundbreaking programs linking art and design with industry. Ultimately, Parsons was named the #1 art and design school in the country. Parsons enrolls nearly 5,000 total students across its undergraduate, graduate, and associate's degree programs and remains the only top design school housed within a comprehensive university, offering undergraduate degree programs both here in New York City and in Paris. There are 10 Bachelor of Fine Arts programs and the first Bachelor of Business Administration degree in Strategic Design and Management to be offered at a major ICAD art school. The Parsons Experience offers an unparalleled education dedicated to creativity, innovation, and experimentation that enacts positive change in our world. Students are going to develop the knowledge and skills they need to make an impact through collaboration with peers, industry partners, and communities all over the world. And the Parsons Curriculum, similarly to Lang and Performing Arts, is equally responsive, encouraging students to work cross-collaboratively and select courses that fulfill their interests and needs for their own design practice. Students explore multiple sites and scales of engagement, developing socially and environmentally sustainable projects, garments, interiors, buildings, and urban habitats. And of course, we're not content to limit our diverse opportunities to those only available in New York. As I mentioned just a moment ago, Parsons also exists in Paris. Located in one of the most vibrant creative economies in the world, Parsons Paris offers extraordinary educational, cultural, and professional opportunities for the growing number of students who are seeking a wider range of experience in art, design, media, technology, and culture. Established in 1921, Parsons Paris is the oldest American undergraduate degree program offered in Europe and invites students interested in college to Paris to join our modern atelier. As we do here in New York, Parsons Paris employs its city as a laboratory, collaborating on creative projects and exploring ways to apply art and design to the challenges of an urban life. Students in Paris either pursue their degree there for the full 4 years or come for a semester or year to study abroad. Parsons Paris offers 3 undergraduate programs in fashion design, art, media and technology, and strategic design and management, each featuring interdisciplinary learning and our noticeable small classes. All degree programs are taught in English and guided by a faculty of professionals from all around the world. I hope that by now it's begun to sink in that here, students don't simply learn what other people have done in these fields time and time again. Rather, they discover new ways to innovate, question convention, and design solutions that are distinctive and unexpected. All of our undergraduate students have the opportunity to choose from more than 50 minors in almost any discipline, no matter their major, across the entire university. We also offer a dual degree pathway designed for students who want a more comprehensive education in liberal arts and either music or the visual arts. This 5-year program leads to the awarding of both a Bachelor of Arts degree from Eugene Lang College and a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree from either Parsons School of Design or the School of Jazz within the College of Performing Arts. The new school offers many of the nation's most distinguished graduate school programs in art and design, the performing arts, media and communications, creative writing, humanities and the social sciences, professional management and public policy, and international affairs as well. With the bachelor's, master's pathway option, students can also work to begin earning their master's degree concurrently while finishing their Bachelor of Arts degree at Lang. Top faculty, of course, teach across both graduate and undergraduate courses. Our dedication to learning in small seminar-style classrooms has been recognized in several college rankings. Our urban campus is designed to help you explore all of what I've just discussed in the best possible environment. We offer state-of-the-art facilities for all of the work and connections you're going to be making. One is occupying the 3 floors of the Sheila Johnson Design Center on 5th Avenue and 13th Street. And that is our new state-of-the-art making center, which offers fabrication facilities across digital and traditional production processes. From 3D printing and CNCs to wood and metal fabrication, the center also boasts a large, open, kinetic classroom space and soon a video shooting studio with a green screen. The university also has more than 4,000 square footage of exhibition space, 5 major performance spaces that include a fashion runway, and of course this beautiful historic auditorium we're in today. We also have 4 on-campus libraries with resources in art and design, music and performance, and all the traditional things you'd expect, like the humanities and social sciences. But here, as students, you'll also have access to all of the libraries at NYU, the Cooper Union, and the Cardozo Law School. The new school is actively dedicated to increasing our sustainability across campus as well. In fact, we are #1 in sustainable building for our new University Center, located right here in downtown Manhattan, which you'll all have the pleasure to see later this afternoon. In addition to all that our university has to offer, you probably have figured out that our campus is right in the heart of downtown Manhattan and provides a living and networking experience like no other. You've probably heard that people call New York City the city that never sleeps. We like to lovingly refer to it as a city that sleeps to dream. I'd argue that New York City is a place where every creative and socially engaged person ought to call home at some point in their lives, so why not now? For those of you who already do, you of course know what I'm talking about. Some of our local students are going to certainly choose to commute to campus, though housing is available for students at all levels of study. We provide secure and supportive environments that can ease the transition from home to college, helping students to learn to live independently. Each of our residences offers something for everyone. Our Greenwich Village residences, which include the 13th Street residence and Loeb Hall, which are both available for you to view at some point during your time with us today, as well as Cary Hall and Stuyvesant Park, are located near Union Square, Astor Place, and Washington Square Park, all within walking distance of our academic quad. Housing costs between $17,000 and $22,000 per academic year, and students interested in residing in on-campus housing are strongly encouraged to apply by the June 15th deadline. 2 of our residences, as I mentioned, are available to visit during today's open house anytime before 5 p.m. today. To access that schedule, all you have to do is check in with the Residence Hall tour table back in the University Center. We also welcome you once you return to the University Center to have a meal in our dining hall if you so choose, or to explore many of the tastes of New York City. With just steps away from the legendary Union Square Farmers Market, the cafes, restaurants, and pizzerias await you there as well. Our historic Greenwich Village campus makes for a truly unparalleled and adventurous home. You're probably starting to also get the sense that we don't just consider New York City to be our home, but we also consider it an extension of our classroom and the academic experience that you'll have here. Our facilities on campus are better than ever, but we don't just teach them on our campus. A major benefit of our location here in New York is that we enable students to learn beyond the classroom, using New York City landmarks and museums for class visits, academic research, and social engagement. Students use New York City as an extension of the studio, classroom, practice room, and seminar classroom experience every day. Examples: jazz students can go see performances at the village jazz clubs that made legends. Drama students are just steps away from Broadway and off-Broadway houses. Mannes students have access to the Metropolitan Opera, New York Philharmonic, and of course, Lang students are often the leaders in the social activism for which New York is known. One example you'll also get to see today is our Street Seats project, which is located on 13th Street, just outside the University Center. New School students collaborated with faculty and New York Department of Transportation to utilize parking spaces to create a community-oriented space where students and community members could gather. There are, of course, many ways for you to engage in campus life as well, through art shows, clubs, film festivals, student organizations, and many social justice initiatives. Our Department of Athletics and Recreation offers several varsity athletics groups, group fitness classes, outdoor adventure activities, and organized team sports. And of course, if you've not yet met him, this is our mascot, Gnarls the Narwhal. In addition to the opportunities that we provide to you as students on campus, you also have the opportunity to come hear from some of the greatest thinkers, performers, and designers in the world. Our leaders charting their own path as Nobel laureates, Oscar winners, authors, designers, and fashion magnates come to campus and share what they've learned through the New School's public programs. An amazing resource not just to our internal university community, but also to New York City residents as well. And at the New School, as I mentioned, students don't simply learn what others have done for centuries. They're interested in asking new, relevant questions and taking the work into a future that doesn't yet exist. We're here to help you discover new paths toward questioning convention and designing solutions that are distinctive and unexpected. work that will be for the world, but that is of you. Our students are immersed in the work being done here every single day. Last year alone, New School students interned at more than 1,200 different companies and organizations in the city, including places like Lincoln Center, HBO, MTV, the New York Times, Sloan Kettering, NPR, Marvel Comics, the New York City Ballet, and the Museum of Modern Art, just to name a select few. And our on-campus advising department will work closely with you to help you explore the opportunities available, make informed decisions, and create an academic plan that will prepare you for your future trajectory. Our students graduate ready to take on the world. And when you choose to study at the New School, you should know you will walk in the footsteps of pioneers like John Cage, Donna Karan, Mark Jacobs, Jasper Johns, Marlon Brando, Tennessee Williams, Margaret Mead, Frank Lloyd Wright, and my personal favorite, Beatrice Arthur. The New School also provides access to a lifelong network of talented and innovative minds. Faculty, alumni, advisors, and fellow students can help link you to opportunities throughout the city, in your life, and beyond. So, you've heard enough from me, I think, at this juncture. I'd like to introduce you to some of those minds right now. I'd like to welcome to the stage our Dean of Eugene Lang College of Liberal Arts, Stephanie Browner, and our Dean of the College of Performing Arts, Richard Kessler, for a conversation with Taryn Wolf, our Senior Director for Recruitment and Outreach. Welcome.
Thank you, Craig. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? There's so many of you. We're thrilled about that. So welcome to the New School again. My name is Taryn Wolf. Craig just introduced me. I work in the enrollment area. And through my career, I've worked at several universities and colleges. But since I came to the New School a little over a year ago, one thing I keep feeling so proud of is the talent that the New School is able to attract. At the student level, of course, our faculty are incredible. Even our staff, I mean, I work with amazing minds all the time. So that's something that really we're so happy to share with you today as you're here on our campus, being able to come and meet with our students and our faculty and really see these programs in action. So we're gonna just have a little conversation here with Stephanie and Richard. And I'd love to start with, speaking of the great talent that we have here at the New School, why you chose to come here and why you stay.
I'll take it. First of all, welcome. It's a pleasure to see you here. So I came 6 years ago, and I've been in the liberal arts setting for a long time. I've been a dean and a provost at other liberal arts colleges and a professor. And one of the great challenges for liberal arts these days is to make it very clear that we are relevant and what we are doing is absolutely fundamental to shaping the future of the world in a more socially just way, in a sustainable way, and that liberal arts engages the present, but also cares about how we need to think about the past. So we know that in the liberal arts, but not everyone always knows that. And so making that argument is tough for some liberal arts colleges. When Lang came knocking on my door and said, we'd like you to consider serving as the dean here, first of all, I knew the history of the New School. I knew its deep commitment to progressive movements, ideas, radical thinking, challenging the status quo. And then I came and interviewed with students, and I had never met more students using the phrase critical thinking naturally, intuitively at any other college. So I was absolutely persuaded that this was a school that understood that critical thinking is essential, that we can't just proceed without reflecting deeply, thinking critically. And then I also discovered that Lang and the entire New School is always engaged in action. So there's critical thinking, but Lang students don't just sit still. They want to take action. They don't want to wait 4 years. They want to be involved now. So I couldn't help but bring a little prop. One of my experiences since I've come, and this is why I stay probably, is as I go around about my day on the weekends, I always bump into New School people, alumni, events. I go to an event at BAM, Brooklyn Academy of Music. I'm reading the program notes. Oh, they're written by a Lang professor. I'm at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and there's a display, and it turns out that person attended the New School back in the 40s for 2 years. It happens every single weekend. So About 20 minutes ago, before I left I guess an hour ago before I left my apartment, I was reading the New York Times book review. And on the back is an ad for a book about philosophy. It is authored by, it's a collection of essays that actually appear in the New York Times on a regular basis. And the authors are Simon Critchley, he teaches philosophy at Lang, and Peter Catapano. In fact, he also team teaches with Simon Critchley at Lang, and the students help edit this book. That's what happens every weekend.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Stephanie. So why did I come to the new school? Well, first of all, Stephanie and I were appointed at the same time, so we're both basically just past our 6th-year anniversaries as deans. I originally was the Dean of Manus. I started as the Dean of Manus, and then as the College of Performing Arts was created, I became Executive Dean for the College of Performing Arts, and I remain also, at least for the time being, the Dean of Manus. So when I was contacted about the prospect of becoming the Dean of Manus, I knew Manus because I attended Manus for 2 years, many years ago. And I also grew up in New York, so I knew about the new school, but not as much as I really needed to know in order to consider the job seriously. So I went right to the website of the new school, and I started looking around. And I looked at Manus, and I thought, wow, it's amazing. So many of the people who taught me are still here as faculty members. I looked at the rest of the university, and I looked at the things that the university had to offer. And at that point in time, what I thought to myself was, for me, the job that I was interested in was being the dean of a Manus that would be more fully integrated and connected to Parsons, to Lang College, to the New School for Social Research. What I felt was so many of the things that the university provided were the sorts of things that freestanding music conservatories just can't provide. You're not going to get access to a data visualization course at another school like this that's an independent school. You're not going to have much of an opportunity really to minor in economics. The idea that the Manus Opera could partner with Parsons, where Parsons students at the top-rated fashion school in the world would create the costumes, would create the set design, would create the lighting, and together with the excellence of the Manus Opera and the excellence of Parsons Fashion, that you could do something that no other school that I knew of could do. And for me, that was the job, and that's what I wanted to commit myself to. And that's what, in fact, we are doing. And now it's not only been about Manus and the other schools, but it's the 3 performing arts schools, how they work together and across the 3 areas that we're concerned about, and then the rest of the university. And so why do I stay? I stay because in my heart, the 3 schools of the College of Performing Arts, Manus School of Music, the School of Jazz and Contemporary Music, and the New School for Drama, are committed centrally to what our graduates need to know, understand, and be able to do. We are committed to ensuring that our students will be prepared for this world that they graduate into. Not the world of 10 years ago, not the world of 20 years ago, and not the world of 100 years ago. And the 100 may seem like a sort of strange number. Why would you pick 100 years ago? Classical music, for instance, can be that way. The rigor and the tradition of 100 years ago is something that still lives within these types of schools, but it can't be the only way in which you view the world. So I stay because we are committed to ensuring that our students will be ready when they graduate.
Thank you, Richard and Stephanie. Great. So can you talk a little bit about why choose particularly Lang to study the liberal arts and the College of Performing Arts here to study in the performing arts in the different genres? Why these schools?
Lang students come here because they like to ask questions of themselves and one another. They want to listen to ideas that are not like their own, that create the cognitive dissonance that is essential for learning. They are relentless in asking questions. We're a small college. Lang is 1,700 students. My door is open. When those slides go by, they're kind of a little promotional. They're not. I know all the students. I'm involved with the students. So they want to do the kind of deep thinking, reading, talking about the text, challenging one another, applying to those questions and those issues to what they're seeing every day. And they want to do it in a community that's small enough where you can have conversations, where you're challenged to listen and think differently. And they want to do it in a setting where we're not stuck in the disciplinary boundaries. So you might have noticed in our list of majors, we have anthropology and economics, and we have global studies. We have writing, and we have interdisciplinary science. All of our majors and our faculty, it's really part of our DNA, understand their disciplines as in conversation with issues and questions. And that's what Lang students do here. It's not sort of just a phrase, liberal arts. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of being a citizen of the world. And I'm inspired daily by the students and faculty here who inhabit that kind of mind of questioning, thinking, and acting. A couple years ago, we do a small graduation for each of the colleges and a big university one. At the Lang graduation, we have a Lang speaker, and he said, at Lang, theory beats up on praxis, and praxis beats up on theory. You can't take action unless you're really thinking about what are your assumptions. But if you only think about your assumptions and your theory and you never take action, what's the point? And we're constantly doing both here and talking about it and examining what we're doing. And I find I'm always inspired by that.
I want to speak a little bit about the College of Performing Arts in particular, and it will overlap a little bit with what I said previously. I think that one of the things that we have to offer that really is special is the ways in which we are breaking down the boundaries across these three schools. There are many similar schools that will tell you that you can move across the drama school into the jazz school, or that you could study classical piano and do something with the drama school. But the fact of the matter is, it's not that easy, and the opportunities at most other schools that I know of, and I know most of the other schools pretty well, the opportunities are really pretty limited. They're pretty small. There are a number of reasons for that. We won't get into it today. But we have committed ourselves to basically taking a look at the issue of how can you be ensured that you will have the rigor, the depth, the training that you need in drama, in jazz and contemporary music, and in classical forms, while at the same time you will have opportunities to, let's say, being in an improv class that includes students from all three schools, that's team taught by Jane Ira Bloom, one of the world's great soprano saxophone players, and Joe Grafazzi, a faculty member from the drama school, where that group, it no longer becomes a group that's about the three separate schools. It becomes a group that it's about one group of artists working together with mentors. Or, to use a very, very new example, we're in our second year right now of a music theater lab, and it's a lab that really sits in the middle across the sort of boundaries of the three schools. So what you have is you have Mannes students, you have jazz students, you have drama students, who are all coming together with some of the finest faculty members in the world. The music director of the Broadway show Chicago, Leslie Stiefelman, directs the class. Kevin Newberry, one of the hot young rising star directors of Broadway and opera, is also running this class. And in that class, what you'll see, it's an amazing thing. You will see flute players, you will see oboe players who are singing, who are acting, who are dancing. They will come from a rehearsal of Sibelius' Fifth Symphony with the Mannes Orchestra, go directly to the Music Theater Lab, and all of a sudden you don't know exactly which school they are in. And not only that, all these people come together and produce shows. We just did Cabaret last June that are of the highest quality you can imagine. And even furthermore, they got to work with the writer, the composer of Chicago, and that was John Kander. So when you roll all these things together, and then also consider the university and the opportunities that I mentioned earlier, I think that we provide an advantage here. I like to call it the new school advantage, but I think it is something special, and I think it is something that very few, if any, schools of similar nature are doing.
Thank you. Let's also touch upon New York and just the energy of the city and why study here in a place like this right now. Obviously, the city is such a huge part of the new school and the way that we educate. But if you could talk a little bit about those interactions that happen or those things out there that make your schools so uniquely placed here.
So I'm worried you're getting a little tired out there. I kind of want to make you all stand up and move, but probably not a good idea. I might. There was a slide that went by that had a picture of two women talking. One was Bell Hooks, if you recognize her. She comes pretty much every year. We usually have lines down Fifth Avenue to get in to hear her speak, and she's always in conversation with someone. She's a public intellectual feminist thinker on white supremacy, patriarchy, you name it, and everyone reads her. My son's always handing her books to me to read. I've read them all. Did anyone notice who she was speaking with? It was Jill Soloway. She's the director of Transparent and a couple other TV shows you might be watching. She's also a Lang parent. But what's interesting about that is, so we have great public programming, and we can do that because we're in New York City. But this auditorium for that conversation and other ones are filled not only with students, but with people from across the city, the 5 boroughs, and elsewhere. So when you're engaging these questions, it's not in sort of the precious atmosphere of a campus that's far removed from a city. So when people are asking questions, and the line to the mic is up to the back door, it's all kinds of people. It is Lang students and students from performing arts, and it's someone from the community college in Lower Manhattan, and it's a working mom from somewhere else. It's a journalist who's in his 60th year of writing for the New York Times. So we have these public programs, and we have a space that is just always filled with students and with other people. So people like to learn. People come to events, they come to college to learn, but you don't need to do it in a segregated little community of people only between the ages of 18 and 22. It's much richer if you're constantly doing it in conversation with a city, which isn't just a city, it's individuals who are themselves grappling to think well and to act intelligently and smartly and justly. And I find that New York City just permeates what we do and how we think, from those public programs to the class team taught by Simon Critchley, who's full-time here, and Peter Katapana, who's a full-time editor at the New York Times, with our students helping to create a book, Who Says Philosophy is Not Relevant? These questions such as, can refugees have human rights? Is our patriotism moral? Is real inclusiveness possible? What do we owe each other? Those are the kind of questions that get discussed in this auditorium and in our classes in a really diverse community. And New York City is what makes that possible.
I think for us, the performing arts have a particular connection to New York City. There are other cultural capitals, there's no question about it, London, Berlin, other cities. But my view, and of course I'm a New Yorker, so I would be prejudiced about this, I think it is the cultural capital of the world. So for a drama student, so for a jazz and contemporary music student, for a Mannes student, well, think about it for a second. Every single great orchestra comes through New York. They do not go to Cleveland every single year. They do not go to Los Angeles every single year. They do not go to Boston every single year. They do not go to Pittsburgh every single year. The Berlin Philharmonic, the Philadelphia Orchestra, everyone, the London Symphony, the Vienna Philharmonic, and of course, the New York Philharmonic here all year round. Every great chamber ensemble tours throughout New York. Every experimental or theater company, the greatest jazz clubs in the world, the greatest alternative music scene, a vibrant indie pop scene, the Broadway theaters. There's almost no form. We don't have that much of a country and western, thing going on. That's about the only thing I could think of. But then so you can go to Vanderbilt if you're really interested in country and western. But and not only that, what happens is we have this extraordinary faculty that's connected to all these organizations. This is a school where you can take classes with Bob Hurwitz, the legendary former president of None Such Records. This is a school where you can spend time with John Zorn or Kaya Sariaho in residence. You have some of the finest regular faculty members and then guests who are being connected through all these different organizations, whether it be Moises Kaufman working in the drama school, or the many, many guest directors, or Dmitry Krymov, the great Russian experimental director. So when you think of the idea of being situated within all this, It's pretty hard to beat, I think.
I believe you. Great. Last question, which I'd love to just go sort of at a bigger level outside of all of these individual things we're talking about that make this place so fantastic. Just the new school, being in the university, what do you see as the greatest benefits for your students to be part of this larger organism that is the new school?
I keep going first. Why don't you go first,
I'll
Richard?
go first.
We need to liven this up a little bit.
You know, I've spoken so much about, for me, the central theme of being at the new school and the centrality of what it's about to me, and that it's the opportunities and the walls that have been torn down to make these opportunities real, not just theoretical, but real. What I'd like to do is actually speak about something that's that's sometimes overlooked. The history of the university is extraordinary, particularly in the performing arts. This is the only place that Aaron Copland ever taught was at the New School. The only place that Steve Reich ever taught, it wasn't for long, but it was a couple years, was at the New School. Where did John Cage spend 10 full years teaching? It was at the New School, and he also studied composition at the New School with Henry Cowell. What we know today as being essentially modern ethnomusicology was invented at the New School. At Mannes, it was the first American school to teach solfege. At Mannes, it was the first school in the world to formalize Schenkerian theory, music theory and analysis. If you take a look at, this is the school where not only Marlon Brando attended at the dramatic workshop with Erwin Piscator at the New School, but Rod Steiger, and for those who know On the Waterfront, and that famous I Could Have Been a Contender scene, both those actors in that scene, they are both alums of the New School. This is where Tennessee Williams went to school. This is where James Baldwin went to school. This is where Harry Belafonte went to school. This is the first school in the world to teach essentially a course on jazz. In this case, it was jazz history. The history of the New School in the performing arts is the most extraordinary thing. This is the school where the great music director of the Cleveland Orchestra, George Zell, didn't actually teach conducting. He taught music theory and composition because someone else was teaching conducting. There's something to be said about a history like that. There's something to be said about being in a room like this where Martin Luther King gave a critical speech at a critical point in time. There's something to be said about Martha Graham having taught here or Frank Lloyd Wright having taught here. And those names, while they may be names of the past, the traditions, the brilliance, and everything that those names were about back then, it lives here today. It lives here across all the schools. It lives here across all the faculty and everything we are and we hope to be.
I think he said it quite well. I like that you put James Baldwin under performing arts. I saw his picture up there, but that's nice you're claiming him. I'm busily rereading Notes of a Native Son right now. Yeah, it's true. You know, the New School, you can have taglines and you can try to explain who you are to the world. But the New School is an identity that's really owned by the work that has been done here for 100 years, by the people who have chosen to come here, the students who are coming today, the names we can name of the big names of who are alums. And it lines up with a certain core DNA about, you know, it starts to sound trite when we just turn it into the words, but the serious work that has happened here, that has been radically creative and sort of really rigorous but challenging of everything that's sort of accepted and standard. You know, and then that comes down to if you come here, so that's the past. Faculty, hiring faculty, which is one thing deans do, we hire faculty, is so easy here. First, it's New York City. A lot of people want to come to New York City, but they want to be at a school with this kind of presence and commitment that is just not one dean's vision, one president's vision. It's really owned by all of New York City and others who care about this institution and care about the values we stand for. It's not going to sort of wander away from that. So when you hire faculty, they really want to come here. And then what they end up doing in the here and now for you, if you decide to come here as a student, means that if you're in interdisciplinary science, you might be working with graduate students who are working on public policy when you're thinking about tuberculosis testing in the Russian neighborhoods in one of the boroughs where people are reluctant to go for tuberculosis testing. Or you might be working on critical coding. So everyone says, you all need to learn to code, but coding is just kind of an algebra. Coding is the easy part. How do you think critically about code? How do you think critically about algorithms? And how do you think about the social justice implications of algorithms and how they're structuring who we know, who we talk to, and how we think? And then you start putting that into data visualization. That happens here because of the new school's values, because we have data visualization people at Parsons who are teaching in our Journalism Plus Design program at Lang. It's just, those are the waters we swim in, and they are deep, and they've been flowing for a long time, and for me, it's a really inspiring place to be. We are no utopia. Things go wrong. Things are problematic. Deans have to do a lot of sort of cleaning up the closets and solving problems, and I can't promise you if you come, you won't have disappointing moments. But for me, being a part of the new school is to join an institution that has sort of really spoken clearly about its values and allows me to join that work and find what is my voice and what is my contribution to that project. Good luck in making your decision.
Thank you both so much for your thoughts.
So now that you've heard from our deans and Taryn, we think it's equally as important that you have the opportunity to hear directly from current students who are doing the things that we've been telling you about. So I'd like to invite them up to the stage, and they're going to take a few minutes to tell you about how the new school is helping them to take a new path. And John, you're up first.
Hi, my name is John Weicker. I'm a senior, and I'm a double major in theater and culture and media at Lang. So if I had to sum up my entire new school career in one moment, it would probably happen during my directing post-dramatic theater class. I was taking this class with my favorite professor, who I've been taking classes with every year at Lang. She's tough, and she has high expectations. She will not go easy on any student, and she expects her directing students to be taking risks and making choices. Now in this class, we're studying post-dramatic theater. Post-dramatic theater is a style of theater that focuses on nonlinear storytelling, the death of the traditional character, and the removal of the script as the driving force of the play. In another one of my Lang classes, Theater Theory, my professor pointed out that because we're studying post-dramatic theater, we're kind of situating it in the past. But post-dramatic theater is something that's happening right now. The term was coined in the early 2000s. So the most interesting part about this class is that we can go and see theater in the city, or later on when we studied abroad in Berlin, that is contributing to post-dramatic theater. And what's most exciting about this to me is that in 10 or 20 years, we might find out that post-dramatic theater ended, and right now we're really in the post-dramatic theater. It's only at Lang where the creation of a new class contributes to the creation of history. Enough had to happen within the last 15 years for this class to happen, and a professor had to find the material and create a syllabus for post-dramatic theater. Now, the one exact moment that I knew everything about my new school career had come together was when I had just finished presenting my post-dramatic theater scene that I had worked on all semester. It wasn't my final presentation, so I had about a week left to make cuts and changes and add new ideas. I'd just been critiqued, and while the next group was setting up, my professor turned to me and said, "John, I think you should go to grad school for directing." And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yes, you like it the most." And then she walked away. I have spent my entire time here trying to decide what my path is going to be when I leave. I've thought it could be acting, film directing, writing, or for a while I just wanted to work at the new school for the rest of my life because I love it here. But then my professor, who has directed me as an actor in a play, taught me how to do a solo performance, and who introduced me to the idea of directing, said that she thinks I should go to grad school for directing. That was when I realized that the thing I had enjoyed the most might actually be something I'm good at. It couldn't have happened without a long and hard relationship with this professor. This couldn't have come from a professor who always told me I was good. She had to find the thing that I was best at and the thing I loved most. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alice Nemoto. I am a senior at Lang, and I major in politics with double minors in philosophy and the film track in culture and media. I always knew that I wanted to go to Lang. I went to a high school in San Francisco that had a similar educational pedagogy at Lang, so I was familiar with the seminar structure, and I knew the kind of learning environment I knew that that was the kind of learning environment where I was really able to develop my own thinking and expand how I understand things. And that is what truly drew me to Lang. Even though I had a picture of what Lang would be like, I don't really think I knew what that meant, or rather, I didn't realize the depth that could be reached in the seminar style. Looking back now, I think a moment that I could pinpoint in my Lang experience is the final paper that I had in my first semester writing the essay class. I was, and honestly still am, one of those people that doesn't ever really have a clear picture of what I want to do in the big picture sense. I just have an accumulation of interests that drive me. I always knew that I wanted to pursue politics in some form or another. I even originally wanted to study it in conjunction with Christianity. But my writing the essay class was the first ever politics-related course that I took at Lang, and it was about imperialism and the American empire. The topic alone conjures up a lot of perceptions of what a class with that kind of content would be like. And yet, even through our small projects and group discussions, I felt my desire to go beyond what was expected of me grow. And it wasn't until this class that I realized the extent of my passion for politics and the capacity that I had to develop my thinking and my perspective, and that politics truly, and well, to produce something that was truly unique and my own. I ended up doing my paper on campaign rhetoric. At the time, it was only when the 2016 campaign was just beginning. So the paper was about the relationship of campaign rhetoric to notions of American exceptionalism. Before this project, even at a great high school, I felt like projects were always to prove my knowledge. And this project allowed me to explore my interests and incorporate topics and elements that I was interested in. It allowed me to tackle something in a fuller way so that I could really see which interests drove me. Something that gave me the courage to pursue multiple minors because I never really knew how to express those interests that I had in a meaningful, more direct way. And this is something that, looking back now, as I'm hopefully one semester away from graduating, that I've really taken with me throughout the course of my time here, and it has truly made me a stronger, fuller thinker, and I'm truly grateful. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gemma and Jeff. I'm originally Turkish. I'm a BAFA student here at the New School. I study jazz voice at the School of Jazz, and I do contemporary music at Lang with a literature minor. All the while, I'm interning at None Such Records, one of my favorite record companies. I work as a tour guide and a social media assistant at the New School. And finally, I'm a co-chair and the senator for jazz at our university student senate. So that alone is my new school moment. It's been one long 4.5 year so far journey. And I say that because I don't think there's any other place that I could have pursued so many different things in such seriousness, and I think New School has really allowed me to do that. But I do want to tell you a story, and as a tour guide, one of the questions that I get asked a lot is how I decided to come to the New School. And before I start with that, I should say that when I first came in, I just came for the School of Jazz, and through the classes that I took as a freshman, I decided to transfer into the BAFA program my second year. So the story begins when I was a sophomore in high school back in Turkey, and one of my best friends who was a trumpet player was like, to me and like a couple of other friends, he was like, do you guys want to go to Europe for the summer? I found this workshop in Italy. And we were like, yeah, sure, why not? And we were all in the orchestra, and we were like pursuing music kind of like a hobby. But we went there, and it was just 2 weeks long, but it was the best time I've ever had. And luckily for me, it was a jazz workshop, and there were professors from the New School that taught at it. And I met one of our vocal faculty there. She was teaching the like vocal stuff. Her name is Amy London, and she gave me so much material, information, and just repertoire to get myself ready for what I had decided, because at that workshop, I decided I wanted to study music. I didn't want to do it half-heartedly. I wanted to go all in. And I went back to Turkey, and within 2 years, I established myself as a very ambitious young singer, and I was able to prove myself to many universities, got accepted to a bunch, but because of that experience, I just really wanted to come to the New School, and I made it in 2013. And one of the things that I want to mention, because I love a full circle story, is another professor that taught there was John Ellis, who's this amazing saxophone player, composer, arranger, and he sometimes teaches at the New School as well. So I did my private lessons with him last year, and it was just amazing to be able to show him how much I've grown within the last 7 years, especially after coming to the New School. And another thing that I got to do was I took this big band arranging class, and at the end of the class, you're supposed to write an original piece and arrange it for a big band, and an actual big band comes in and plays and records that song. So John Ellis, that I met when I was 17 years old without knowing anything about jazz, came in and played the first clarinet, the solo instrument of my piece, and I had the pleasure to instruct him on how to do it. So I feel very proud whenever I tell this story, and I think the 17-year-old me would be very proud as well. So that's my story for you. Have a great day.
Hello, my name's Christian Devakis. I'm a junior at Manus studying voice. When I was first applying to conservatories, I was really nervous and hesitant because throughout high school I'd always been very passionate about academics and my courses. And in traditional conservatory environments, a lot of the times academics could be sparse. There aren't as many opportunities as one might like, and coming here, I was so happy to find that that wasn't the case. There are so many programs, classes, and opportunities for people to take advantage of. One of them is that for the voice program, you get to study 1 year of Italian, 1 year of German, and 1 year of French, both in diction and in language, meaning that you study in-depth pronunciation and you learn how to speak the languages. That is something uniquely offered at Manus and at the New School that cannot be found at a lot of, if not at any other college or conservatory experience. Also, the space and the history of Manus and the New School itself are extraordinary, and it's easy to be overwhelmed by the grandeur of the school, but the community here is incredibly supportive. And every day I come here, I'm constantly reminded of all the great people that I've studied here, the greatness of my professors, whom many of them perform to this day at places such as the Metropolitan Opera and at the New York Philharmonic and other great places around the globe and in the city. It's just incredibly humbling. It's incredibly humbling to attend such a school and to learn something new every day from some of the greatest minds of today. And I am so, so grateful for my time here. I never thought I could have gotten such a comprehensive education in a music school, but with the university here supporting it and fostering its growth into the 21st century, it is completely possible. I strongly encourage anyone interested in music and academia to attend this school. It's a program like no other. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Renee Harrison, and as I continue through the speech, you'll get to know a little bit more about what my major is. But I'll start off with this. So I bought a new toothpaste yesterday. Yeah, I promise it'll like come around. I promise. So I bought a new toothpaste yesterday. Usually I'd go into my local drugstore and pick up my Colgate baking soda and peroxide, tunnel vision, lock, I go in, get it, and I come out. But for some reason yesterday, as I was going about my day and I was finishing that baking soda and peroxide toothpaste, I decided to go into my local CVS, and I was looking around, and in the CVS on 5th Avenue and 14th Street, they have just like a wall of Colgate toothpaste. So you're finding like, you know, the little gifts for the buyers, like the spearmint or your, you know, prevent gingivitis and all of that. And I was like, okay, you know, I'll choose something new. So I decided that I was gonna go ahead and look through the ingredient list. Like, I just had all the time in the world yesterday. I don't know what was going on. But I went ahead and looked through the ingredient list, and I had my phone next to me, and I'm just like searching through, like, what does this mean? And I found out that about like 90% of the ingredients were not to be ingested by human beings. So I quickly put that Colgate back. And fortunately, to my right, I found this cute little toothpaste brand known as Dr. Sheefel's. And it's like all organic, no liquid detergents, just very like pure and fresh. And I'm doing the same thing too, you know, going through my phone and like Googling these ingredients to make sure that, you know, I'm not putting anything into my body that I don't want there. And I found a lot of comfort, you know, in their full transparency about what was in their products. So now we begin. I was gonna talk about college in terms of challenging your fears and like the growth that I've experienced over the course of the past few years. But this morning, as I was getting ready at 7 a.m., you know, getting dressed for today and brushing my teeth with my brand new toothpaste, I stopped in my bathroom mirror, and I just literally out of nowhere, I stopped and I was like, Renee, what do you value? And I took a second, and then I continued brushing my teeth, but it had been on my mind throughout the rest of the process. And I just want to say that this question has come up countless times throughout the course of my college career, but there was something about this morning that kind of set a light bulb off in my head, and I thought I knew the answer. I thought I valued creativity and education and learning, and I do. Those are very like whole values that you should have, but I realized that I was also just scratching the surface. And again, I didn't ask myself that question coming to college, and I'm very, very fortunate to have been able to make the right decision. But I do have friends who weren't as lucky, friends who went to a university and were miserable because they'd fallen into the idea of what a college should look like rather than a truth. And so for me, between the likes of people like Shaylin Costello, Julie Boyd, and Scott Whitehurst, who've imparted a sort of wisdom upon me over the course of the past few years, they taught me that truth is something that truth is something that does not come from external resources, but rather something that you just need to look into yourself. It takes a critical assessment and a sort of self-reflection in order to find those answers. So as you are all getting ready to make the big decision, I want to impart upon you my wisdom as well. As you get ready to make what will certainly be a huge step in your careers, or rather, in acquiring your dreams and aspirations, ask yourselves, what do I value? Do you value creative and collaborative environments, opportunity to explore and materialize every idea you can conjure up, civic engagement through the arts, and being in one of the fastest cities in the world? If so, this just might be the place for you. Of course, there are other universities that do offer similar traits, but I will say that there is something very special about being in a space that really prides itself in building community and challenging what an artist, a scholar, or human is supposed to look like. I didn't get the opportunity to go to an open house or accepted Students' Day. In fact, I did not tour the university at all. I was basically looking for schools, and between the New School for Drama's mission statement and the charm of Marlon Meikle, I knew I was making the right decision. So now, here we are, 3.5 years later, having co-written, co-produced, and starred in the International Fringe Play Festival, several self-driven productions, and approaching the end of my BFA training, but also beginning my training as a master's student in the Arts Management and Entrepreneurship program. I will say that I have no regrets, and I wish you all the best of luck, and whatever decision you make, I do hope you are able to find a home in the next chapter of your lives. So, thank you.
You knew you were going to come here and hear about how to pick the right school, but did you know you were also getting advice about how to pick the right toothpaste? I did not. So obviously I want to thank all of our students for sharing their stories and for no doubt inspiring you in your own ways with their words to follow in their footsteps. But you might now be curious about how it is that you get into such a great place like this. Our admission requirements, of course, are not one size fits all. We really want to know, as you probably learn from these students, who you are, what impassions you, what kind of work do you want to create that's going to make the world a better place, and what creative and intellectual potential have you walked through the doors with today that you want our help in unlocking. So here to walk you through the application processes for Lang and the College of Performing Arts are my colleagues Candice MacLusky, the Director of Lang Admission, and Amanda Hosking, Director of Performing Arts Admission.
Thank you, Craig. So we only have a few minutes, so we're just going to touch on some really basic information that we think is important for you all to know about the admissions process. My name is Candice. I'm the Director of Admission for Lang, and I'm going to go over some information that's really universal to all students who are applying to the university. And then my colleague Amanda is going to join us and talk a little bit about the audition process for the College of Performing Arts. If any of you are interested in our Parsons School of Design or doing a dual degree between Parsons and Lang, there are some additional requirements that we're not going to go over at this session right now, but find one of the admissions counselors later on this afternoon and you can ask those questions. And that also makes me want to mention the fact that admissions folks will be around the entire afternoon to answer your questions about the admissions process. And all the information we're going to share with you right now is also detailed on our website. So the information we're sharing right now is no secret. You can find it all on our website or just by talking to us later this afternoon. So first off, let me just talk about some deadlines. So for deadlines for our first year applicants, I should mention we allow students to apply for both the spring and the fall terms. I'll speak about our spring deadlines because that's what's quickly approaching. Students who wish to start their studies in the spring would be applying by October 15th. Students would receive a decision from us on a rolling basis starting in mid-November. Then the majority of our students will start their studies with us in the fall. There are two main deadlines that I'd like to talk about for first-year students. It's early action and regular decision, and I'll go over the difference between the two in just a little bit. But our early action deadline is November 1st. Students will hear back from us around mid-December. And then they'll have until May 1st to let us know whether or not they're going to attend. And then our regular decision deadline is January 15th. Students will hear back from us around mid-March, and they're given until May 1st to let us know if they'd like to attend. If there are any transfer students in the room, I do want to go over those deadlines. Our spring deadline for transfer admission is quickly approaching. It's October 15th. Students will hear back from us on a rolling basis starting in mid-November. And then students who are interested in fall 2018 admission can apply by April 1st, and students will start to receive notification in mid-April. I mentioned that we have both early action and regular decision. Early action is only available for students who are applying to Eugene Lang College of Liberal Arts, our School of Drama, and our Parsons School of Design. Our Parsons, students who are interested in early action are students who are really ready to submit their application by the November 1st early action deadline. If you're not ready to submit your materials by that deadline, that's totally fine. You can wait and apply after that deadline and apply regular decision. I do also want to mention that the Manus deadline is one universal deadline. It's not an early action or a regular decision deadline. It's a December 1st deadline for the fall, so that does differ from all of our other programs. So what do you need to apply to the university? There are a few things. First off, you need to submit the application. It's a nice, easy application to fill out, being that it's the common application. So it's a common application that's used from hundreds of different colleges and universities, so it makes it really easy for you to apply to multiple institutions. When applying to the new school, to any of our programs, you do just search for the new school. Don't search for Eugene Lang College of Liberal Arts or the College of Performing Arts or Parsons School of Design. Search for the new school. That's how you'll find us on the common application. We ask you to fill out one essay that asks you to elaborate on your interests specifically about the new school. And then we also encourage students who are applying to Eugene Lang College of Liberal Arts to fill out the common application essay as well. It is not a requirement, but we do wish that Lang students would fill that essay out also. We need to see all of your transcripts from high school and any college coursework you've taken. So if you've attended 2 high schools, we would need to see the high school coursework from both of those high schools. So that's important to know. And if you've attended any college coursework while in high school or after, we would need transcripts from those programs also. If you are a transfer student and you have completed 24 college credits by the time you are applying, you do not need to submit to us your high school transcript for the admissions process. Your college transcripts will suffice. We also ask for students to submit to us 2 letters of recommendation. We'd love one from your college guidance counselor and one from a teacher. And then something that students are always keen to hear about, we are test optional. You do not need to submit to us your SAT or ACT results if you do not want us to see them. If you do think that they are going to support your application and that you believe that they really are giving us a really good indicator of how well you perform when you get to the university, then by all means feel free to send them along to us, but you do not need to do so. So that's really an optional part of the application process. It is not optional, however, for homeschooled students. So students who are being homeschooled are required to submit results from either the SAT or the ACT. And then for any students in the room whose native language is not English, you may need to submit to us results from either the TOEFL, the IELTS, or the PTE. If you fall into one of those categories, if you fall into that category, feel free to talk to one of the admissions counselors you meet throughout the afternoon, and they can let you know whether you do need to submit those results or if you might qualify for a waiver and you may not need to submit those results. So Amanda's now going to share some information about the audition process.
I don't know. Oh, it is on. That's great. Hi, guys. You ready? We're wrapping up. Get ready. It's exciting. It's a performing arts school. So we're going to have you audition. Show us what you can do. All right? So for Manus, there are pre-screens for applicants with a concentration in flute, violin, cello, composition, piano, and voice. And those can be uploaded on Accepted, the site right there. Then there are also live auditions in our New York campus in the spring. A live audition is strongly encouraged. If you're not able to make the trip back to New York, we do accept video auditions as well. An accompanist will be used for the appropriate repertoire, and we will provide an accompanist unless you bring your own for Manus. For the School of Jazz, all jazz applicants are required to submit a pre-screen video via Accepted. Again, live auditions are held on our New York campus and several other locations throughout the country. A live audition is again strongly encouraged but not required. And the new school will provide a rhythm section for all jazz auditions. So you will be playing with other players in your audition. It's something that's really amazing and interesting and fun. So get ready for that. And if necessary, video auditions will be accepted in lieu of live auditions for everything except for jazz vocalists. So if you have any questions about that, please come and find one of the admissions reps. And then for drama, all drama students must submit a pre-screen materials through Accepted as well. There is also a statement of purpose, a photograph, an essay, a 1-minute video, a resume, and an artistic portfolio bullet list. So those will vary based on what your focus is and what your portfolio is. Following the receipt of the common application for the new school and the supplemental material on Accepted, we will be in touch to schedule an audition/interview. The actors will be asked to prepare a 1-minute contemporary monologue. And all applicants should be prepared to talk about their artistic and academic goals in the interview section of the audition.
So I'm sure that you'll all have some questions about how to finance a new school education. That's a really important question to have. There is going to be an information session this afternoon, I believe it's at 4 p.m., in our University Center about financing a new school education. So I do want to encourage you all to attend that session. But I will share a little bit about our process right now. We offer both merit-based scholarships and need-based financial aid. To be considered for a merit-based scholarship, you do not need to do anything but just apply to the university for admission. All students who are admitted will automatically be considered for a merit-based scholarship, so there's no separate application process. U.S. citizens and permanent residents of the United States who are interested in need-based financial aid do need to submit the free application for federal student aid. And students can actually already start working on that. It's available right now for the fall. So that is something you can already start to work on. I'm sure you're going to have some more questions about that, and I really encourage you all to attend the information session later this afternoon to learn more about the process and get your questions answered.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about housekeeping. We're going to get into our breakout sessions. I did want to encourage everybody to utilize your social media today, your Snapchat, your Instagram, whatever new one I don't know about because I'm really old that you're using now. Please tweet, please Facebook, please Instagram, tell your friends. We would love to share this day and share the amazing things happening at the new school.